I feel kind of well rested. It's pretty awesome. I highly recommend the sleep training course from Baby Center. Hi, my name is Lolly, and I'm mama to two twin 10-month-old boys, Benny and Teddy. We'd like to be able to put them in the crib and have them go to sleep without having to be nursed or given a bottle or any of the other crutches that we use. The method that we're going to use is called timed check-ins. Wish us luck. Basically, on the first night, we put the babies down in the crib, and after 5 minutes, go in and maybe pat them and maybe say, "Good night, I love you," or "shh," and then leave. And then 5 minutes later, go in again for as long as they're crying. But after that, adding 2 minutes. So the next check-in would be 7 minutes, and then after that, 9 minutes for as long as they cry. And then the second night, same thing, except starting at the 7-minute interval. It's scary. I'm afraid that I won't be able to stick with it, and then I'll cave and just nurse them and ruin everything. Wish us luck. Fingers crossed. Thanks. Tonight, I put Benny down in his crib for the first time without him being rocked to sleep or falling asleep on the bottle. And he's been screaming now for 9 minutes. I went in after 5 minutes, and Teddy was actually no longer screaming, and I just sort of laid them back down. I gave Teddy his pacifier, patted them both, and said, "I love you," and said, "Go night-night in the crib." Shh. And in a minute, I'm gonna go back in there for a second check-in. Okay, so I just did the second timed check-in and found actually that Teddy was asleep, and Benny is just hysterical. I mean, I don't know how he's sleeping through this. I can hear Benny kind of fading on his aggressive crying. Oh, he's back up again. Benny stopped crying, and it's time for a check-in, so I'm not really sure. I guess I'm not gonna go in, but I'm gonna check the baby monitor. One baby is asleep. That's Teddy in the foreground, and behind him in the other crib, Benny isn't moving, which means I think he's asleep. So I'm actually gonna go in there and take a look and see if he's actually asleep. I think he is. So amazingly enough, they're both asleep. I didn't even make it to essentially my 7-minute check-in. I did 2 5-minute check-ins, so that was actually surprising. I did not expect it to go that well. Let's see what tomorrow's like. We set them down. 7 minutes later, did a check-in. Benny had been screaming the whole time, and Teddy actually was trying to sleep. He actually was trying to lie down and go to sleep. Before we got to the second time check-in, Teddy was asleep and Benny had laid down and gone to sleep. So we actually never made it into the next check-in, which would have been 9 minutes, but they stopped crying. And so I'm thinking we're really lucky. The other option is it's gonna get much worse. We'll see. So it's night 4, and they're both asleep within 5 minutes. I can't believe it. I did not expect that. It feels like things are headed definitely in the right direction, and they still seem to like us in the morning. Well, I was wrong about them going right to sleep after 5 minutes tonight. Benny he's now just crying and jumping up and down. I went in after 13 minutes, even though last night I didn't do any check-ins. All right, neither one of them are standing now. You can see actually Teddy's lying down in the foreground, rustling around. Benny's lying or sitting down behind that. For quite a few nights now, there have been no check-ins. I would have gone in at like 19 minutes or something if they were still crying, which they weren't. I can't believe it. I can't believe that we are putting them in their cribs and they're going to sleep. Tonight, we opted not to do any actual sleep training, but rather let Benny fall asleep in his papa's arms because he's sick. and he's got the sniffles and he's really miserable and congested. But I think it's a win. What I can't believe is that they actually are continuing to get better at sleeping through the night. For the first time in, I can't even remember if it has ever happened, Teddy slept through the night. I mean, he woke up a few times, but he self-soothed. And Benny also self-soothed, but Teddy has been nursing at several intervals throughout the night. And he actually did not last night for the first time. And that's such a win. I'm really pleased actually with the sleep training courses from Baby Center. I would highly recommend it, especially to any families that basically want to get some sleep.